Hello, today we are going to change the oil in the KTM 690 Adventure R. First thing you're going to need is two oil filters, short one. This is part number 750-380-46100. That's the short oil filter. And the long oil filter 580-380-051. And you're going to need 2 quarts of 10W50 full synthetic motor oil. Now this is KTM's brand at $18.99 a quart, or is that a liter? I guess it's 1 liter. You're going to need 2 of those. It takes 1.8 liters, so I've got 2 liters here. So, short filter, long filter, 2 quarts of oil, and the bike, of course. Now, they recommend that you have it up to operating temperature before you drain the oil. So I am going to roll it out into the yard and idle it until it gets warm. And I'll check back with you in a minute. And another thing, what I do is take this receipt that I got when I bought the oil and filters. I'm going to put the mileage on it, and then I'm going to put it in my little warranty book thing here. I don't think in the owner's manual it has a place to put service dates in it, but I think in the there's another booklet, a warranty book that comes with it. It's got a stamp place where the dealer puts their stamp when they service it. So I'm going to stick the receipt, write the mileage on the receipt, and then put that in the book. Now right now I've got, let's see here, how many miles have I got on it? 2548, and this is my second oil change. The warranty service calls for 600 miles and then 6,000 miles. I've got 2548 on it, and I'm going to change the oil again because it's turning a little bit brown. And I don't know about the rest of you guys, but what kind of mileage do you get on your MT21 knobbies? I've got 2,500 miles on this one, and it's getting down there. I'll probably get another 500 miles on it before I replace it, but it's getting pretty flat. So just wondering what other people are getting out of their Pirelli MT21s. Front seems to be in pretty good shape. It's still got some pretty good tread. Knobs are still pretty high, so I don't think I need to replace it too soon, but the back one, it's getting pretty worn. So anyway, back it out, warm it up, and I will be back in a second. Alright, engine is warming up. I am going to wait until temperature gets up a few more bars, probably halfway up the temperature scale there. While I'm waiting for it to warm up, I'm going to go ahead and take my skid plate off, taking these 2 screws out right here. And once that's done, it should be warm enough, and I will continue on. Okay, skid plate is off. See here, mine is a Adventure Spec skid plate. It's fairly well made, but it's very expensive. I don't know if I could recommend it, but it does have this piece that covers the rear master cylinder, so it gives a little bit of protection. And you've got a bolt here and here on each side, and the front end drops down, and then these just slide into the bushings on the frame. So it's fairly easy to get off. So Engine is now warmed up. I'm gonna get the tools and drain the engine, drain the fluid. So apparently this is the drain plug, and once the oil comes out of there, you take these bolts, nope, that's a water pump, right here, oil filter. Take this one and this one loose, and the oil filter's behind that. And then you go to the other side. This actually is the drain for the antifreeze. So you drain your coolant system with that drain plug. But this is the oil filter here on this side. This, I don't know if this is the long or short, but we'll figure that out in a minute. Drain plug for the oil. Then you go to the other side. And the other side, you've got another oil filter here, right here. And 2 bolts there. And let me think here. Is there another oil drain plug? I don't think so. So let me get my tools and we'll start draining the oil. Alright, so I've got my KTM toolkit here. And various stuff. I've actually got an extra ratchet in there. Spark plug wrench, rear axle nut wrench, sockets and whatnot. But this little wrench here, Unior. Oh, it's a bottle opener too. How about that? And it's got KTM on it. So, you know, it's top quality. So this fits the drain plug. If I can get this open here. Somebody's got it really tight. Let me go get the persuader. Okay, got the appropriate sized persuader. Pretty freaking tight. Alright, so take the plugs out of my pan here. Hopefully it won't go too far. Take the plug out. See, it's got an O-ring on it. I did not get a replacement O-ring. Well, I certainly expected it to drain a little bit more than that. So let me open up the oil fill cap here. I know the bike had more oil than that in it. What the heck? Huh. Ain't that some shit? Well, screen looks pretty good. I think, now that I think about it, there is another fill plug. I think it's on the other side. Oh, I guess I should have looked at the manual a little bit better. So let me go around to the other side. Okay, now we're back over on the left side of the motorcycle. Apparently this is a drain plug as well, and there's a filter screen behind this plug. This is the filter screen, this is the drain plug, oil filter. So a whole bunch of little holes you gotta open up and remove. The filter screens, like this one, you just need to clean. They don't need to be replaced. So I'll clean that in a minute. Got to take this one, drain the oil, take this out, get the filter screen out, clean it, put it back in, get the oil filter out from behind here, replace it. So let me get to that now. Okay, so this one was awfully tight too, so I had to get a cheater to loosen this one up too. Alright, there we go. That's a lot more oil. Good. Got a little magnet on there. It's got a couple of pieces of metal on there. That's not a good sign. We'll wait for this to finish draining, and then we'll get these metal particles and see what's going on. Whoop. What's that? Washer? Yeah. Alright. Nice and black, so I guess it was time to change it. Only got 2,500 miles on it so far since I bought it. Changed the oil at 600 miles, and so I've only got 1,900 on this oil. 1,900 miles. Next service interval is 6,000 miles, so I didn't really need to change the oil, but it is kind of black, and I just got finished riding up in West Virginia, so I figured it wouldn't hurt it. So, alright, I'm gonna try to show you what's going on with this filter, this plug, this magnet. Oh. It looked worse than it really was. There's not much on there at all. That's a good thing. Cleaned it up good. Get all the metallic particles off of it. There we go. Nice and shiny clean. And I've got the copper washer. Clean it up. Put that on. Okay, now I'll set that aside. And now I've got to take this filter out. This screen. Same size plug? Yes, it is. Okay. I'm going to have to turn you off to loosen this up. Okay, so here's the filter screen. I put the drain plug back in there and just hand tightened it. Now I get this filter screen. Take it out. Okay, and it looks pretty clean. Don't see anything really bad with it. Let that oil drain out. Alright, I'm going to wipe this off and maybe blow it off with air hose. And I'll be right back. Alright, I used a little bit of brake cleaner on here. Brake clean. Sprayed it off a little bit. Sprayed down the center. Took this piece out of the cap. It's got a little O-ring on each end, and you can see down in the cap it's just a cap. So slip that back in there like that, and then reinsert it into the bike, and should be able to move on to the oil filters. Got to make sure that the screen, the inside end of the screen, fits in the little hole that it's supposed to. You'll feel it when it slides in. And tighten this up. Shouldn't leak ever because it's got an O-ring on it. Tighten that. Tighten my drain plug. I'm going to give it a little extra torque. I need both hands to do that, so I'll turn you off for a second. Okay, so I got my two screws for the oil filter loose. take them out, set them aside. And grab the filter with my KTM pliers. And it's got a big O-ring on it. And set that down. And then, I don't know how you're supposed to grab that. I think they call for circlip pliers. But I don't see how that's going to work in this instance. So, maybe some needle nose pliers. So let me go get those. Okay, I got these really long needle nose pliers. Let's see if that works. Doesn't look like it's going to work. Alright, so that's not working very well. Let's see if I can wedge it under there. There's just nothing to grab onto. I wonder if they put this filter in backwards. Alright, let's assume this is the long one. Get the new one out of the box, maybe. Come on. Damn it. Damn it. Shit. Okay. Alright, so here's what the new one looks like. So it's got a gasket on the inside surface. And no way to grab it on the backside. There's no way a circlip pliers are going to work on that. So what the hell were they thinking? How are you supposed to get this out of there? Maybe a magnet. You think a magnet will work? Ooh, let me go get a magnet. Okay. Now, what I've got are two fairly strong magnets. Let's see if that works. Oh! See, it's grabbing it. Come on. You little whore. Come on, get off of there. I'll wiggle it so it'll pop off of there, but it is not cooperating. Little biatch. Alright. Let's go at it with the pliers again. Maybe if I turn and use the magnet. Alright, I gotta put the thing down. I'm going to grab it at the bottom and turn and pull with the magnet. Let's see if that works. Alright, this is starting to piss me off. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get a deck screw here, coated deck screw. I'm just gonna take this screw, put it on there and hit it with a hammer and pierce it, and then drive it in with the Torx head screwdriver, and then that'll give me something to pull on. It should pop right out then. But why do I have to go through this? They should design this better. Pissing me off. Alright, report back in a second. Okay, drove it in there, took maybe 2 turns on the screwdriver. Oh, success! Now why do I have to go through that kind of trouble? That's just absurd. KTM, there's got to be a bit. You're like an Austrian company. Why can't you come up with a better deal than what I had to go through? All right. So I take my take my rag and stick it in here and wipe this out a little bit. Make sure there's no metal shavings or anything in there. No dirt from me having to fuck with this. Okay, now that is obviously the big filter. So now just stick the new one in, and it, there we go, slides onto the O-ring. And now I need to wipe off this thing, which it seems pretty clean already. I'm gonna wipe this off and I'm gonna put this back on. Okay, oil filter in, cover on, screws finger tight. Now I'm gonna snug these down evenly and then tighten it up. Doesn't need to be really tight because there's an O-ring on it. The O-ring should seal it. Snug and snug and make sure they're evenly tight. Okay, so this side's all done. I am going to wipe off this drippy oil. Just power wash this thing after coming back from West Virginia, but obviously the power washer doesn't get underneath the above the skid plate and the underside of the engine, but that's okay. It's a badge of honor to have it a little dirty. Okay, now I got everything wiped down. Now I got to go to the other side, do the other filter. Probably endure the same pain over there that it did over here. Okay, now we're back on the other side. Oil fill hole, oil filter, short one, screen right here, and the oil sight hole. So, wipe everything off a little bit. So now, get my wrench, socket on there. Ah! Oh dear. Socket doesn't stay on there very well. Okay. I'll loosen this one. You know what? Just for grins, I am gonna put this just snug so that if something weird were to happen and this socket goes down in that hole, I'd be in a world of shit. Know what I mean, Jelly Bean? That would not be good. I might be able to snake it out of there with a magnet or a little grabby thing, but I don't want to do that. So where does this tube go, I wonder? To go to the oil pump? Oh, it looks like, oh, oil pressure sensor. That's what it looks like. Yeah. There's a fitting here, and looks like an electrical connector up there. So that must be where it senses the oil pressure. Alright. Kind of hard to do all this stuff one-handed. So I need to get my tripod out. Sorry, I'm probably making all of y'all seasick. Alright. Second bolt out. Put it over here on the thing. Move my drain pan over here. And remove filter. Cover up. Look at that. Now the cap is in the way. There we go. Now look at that. This one's going to be easy to get to. Or easy to remove. It's always easy to get to. It's just the other one, you couldn't remove it. Alright. Where are my pliers? Okie dokie. Pliers, wiggle it. And there's the short filter. It's got a hole on each end. So that is a lot easier to get out. Alright, take my rag, get in here, clean it out a little bit. Alright, and that's pretty good. So the hole in the filter lines up with the hole in this that goes up to the oil pressure sensor. So that makes sense. Alright, so now I'll get the short oil filter. Okay. And 750-380-46100. It's got to be the same part number. 750-380-46100. Yep, same part number. Alright. So, in that goes. Slides in there very nicely. And now, I'm going to clean the backside of this a little bit with my now dirty rag. Whoops, sorry. Gotta keep you guys in action. Alright. Now let's see. Is it clean? Clean enough. Alright. That fits down in the hole in the end of the filter. And that slides on there like that. Give it a good wiggle to get the O-ring seated and reattach the bolts. So the last thing I need to do is clean that last screen there. Slide that into the hole at the bottom and then add some oil. This, according to the manual, takes 1.8 liters of oil. So I bought 2 liters of very expensive KTM oil. I normally run Mobil 1 in all my cars. I'm not sure. There's a new special specification for high horsepower, high revving 4-stroke motorcycles. It's like a JSON number something or other. And I'm not sure Mobil 1 is up to that spec, so I just went and bought the KTM oil. That way they can't bitch out of a warranty service if the engine locks up or something. Okay, that's back on. Everything is clean. Now I've got to clean that last filter screen. Alright, let me get some brake clean and clean this, and I will be right back. Alright, got it all cleaned up. Actually, looks kind of dirty in there, doesn't it? Oh, it looks dirty, but it's not. It's just, it's a little damp. Alright, so, got a nice clean rag. Clean the drain hole out a little bit. Okay. It looks good. Screw my screen back in. Again, it doesn't have to be super tight because it does have an O-ring on it. That is what prevents the leaks, not the tension of the bolt. But I'm going to give it a slight tap here. There we go. Alright, so Drain plug in, the other side's done. Oil filter's been replaced. Time to take off the filler cap. And I'm going to clean that off, and then I'm going to put some oil in. Okay, I got a rather long funnel here, but it's okay. And, ooh, it's nice and golden brown. A lot cleaner than what came out of it. I think I'm going to have to start changing my oil a little bit more frequently. Don't see anything pouring out the bottom, so that's good. It's always a good thing. Alright, there's 1 quart. All done. Straighten the bike up just a little bit and to the balancing point. I don't see anything coming up on the in the window yet. Okay, so open the other quart. I guess it's pretty nice that they put this little spout on here, but I find it's a little weird. Not all that user friendly. If it worked a little bit better, maybe. Alright, quart number 2. Alright, so looking here on the side, it is at 32, so I should go down to about 8, I guess. About half. Getting close. Alright, let me see it stand the bike up a little bit. See what happens. Oop. See it on the sight glass. A little bit more. Alright, here we go. Of course, I need to start it. Make sure it gets through all the filters and everything. And alright. Set that there. Put my plug in and start this puppy up. Come on. Go in there. Thank you. Okay. Let's start her up. What's the worst that could happen, right? One last check. Drain plug, filter. I don't see any leaks. Key on. Ignition, and it is in gear, so I need to put it in neutral. Come on, there we go. Oil light's still on. There it goes. So who else has a 690 that still has a stock exhaust pipe on? I wrapped mine in this heat shielding fiberglass cloth and glued it on there kind of with silicone sealer. Seems to work pretty good. And I can put my hand on the muffler after the engine's hot and hold it on there for 3 or 4 seconds before it burns my hand. I mean, it doesn't really burn it, it just gets really hot. Too hot to keep my hand on there, but it does work. I need to replace it with the wings, but I don't really want to spend that kind of money on it. But I also came through here and wrapped the header pipe with the same insulation and behind here to keep it so it won't be so hot. I need to finish wrapping it up here too. That gets awfully hot. Alright, let's see. It's still a little bit warm. Alright, now I'm supposed to let it sit for a minute or so before I check the oil level. At least that's what the manual says. Alright, let's see. Let's see where my oil level is. Grab the bike. I see it in the window. That's right at the balancing point, so I think it's got enough in there. And yeah, it took 1.8 liters. Still got a little bit left in this. One thing I did notice on my last oil change, or the first maintenance service I had on this bike, I took it in for the 600-mile service and they charged me for 3 of these. Now, how does that work? It only holds 1.8 and they charged me for 3. That's $19 profit right there. So, something ain't right. Something ain't right in Denmark. I'm going to have to call them on that next time. But, you know, a new bike owner, naive, didn't know any better. Okay, well, that's it. I am signing off. I don't know if I think I went over this before, but these are, got my pannier racks on my 690. And I've got my Moscow Moto bags on here. They work really, really well. I really like them. I can put all my camping gear, a camp chair, food, clothing. Well, clothing and tent and sleeping bag don't fit in these, so I've got a big duffel bag that I use for all that other big, large, bulky stuff. So this is my tent and clothing and sleeping bag. No, not the tent. Tent fits into the panniers. The sleeping bag and my clothes fit in there, and everything else fits in here. I did a trial run camping by myself a couple of weeks ago, and it worked great. You take this latch off and give it a pull, and they slide right off. And you can take this and put it in your tent or whatever, and then it slides back on. And turn this latch, and you can even put a lock on there, lock them on the bike. But I keep my rain gear on this outside, what they call the beaver tail. That way it's handy, readily available. I don't have to go digging through my panniers to find my rain gear. Same thing over here, rain jacket, rain pants on each side. Some assorted other tools and stuff in here, my tail bag, and then I just put that big 60-liter duffel over top of this. It works great. Like my license plate. Then I got a giant loop tank bag, works really well. It doesn't seem that big, but these corners right here seem to hit my inside thighs a little bit when I ride, but it doesn't bother me that much. Seat concept seat. It's nice and wide. I like that part about it, but it's hard as a brick. It's not all that comfortable. The factory seat is actually softer material than this seat concept seat. But this one's wider, so that gives you more support over a wider square inches. Pounds per square inch, I guess. But this one's hard. I wish it was a little bit softer. What else have I got going on here? Got this thing. What is this? Who's this from? I've forgotten now. But it's a gas filler cap adapter thing, so it's not sunken in with a little lever with a lock on it, because that lock was really tight and I was afraid the key was going to snap off. So this one keeps the dirt out a little bit better. Well, anyway, oil change on the 690. I'm going to have to do a better job of keeping up on that. 2,500 miles on it now. Just about ready for a new set of rear tire. Front tire is still okay. But anyway, talk to y'all later.